Hello everyone, Lisa here. Today is Valentine's Day, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about my Valentine story. It's sweet, it's cute, it's a little sad, but it's basically bittersweet. Overall, it's changed my life forever, and I'm so glad this day happened. So let's get started. I come from a family of 5. My mom, my dad, myself, and my 2 younger sisters. So my dad was basically stuck with all girls. So on certain holidays or birthdays, we would get presents or gifts, and it would always be like from mom and dad or Santa, of course, but it's always my mom and dad either shopping or always my mother, right? But on Valentine's Day, my father would go out and on his own, no help from mom, and he would always go shopping and get all his girls Valentines. Whether it was balloons and chocolate or a stuffed animal, a bear, or just something. There was always a card, and it would always say "Love Daddy" on it in his writing. Every year, it was always his day with his girls. It didn't matter where we were, what we were doing in our lives, if we had boyfriends or partners of our own. I could be in Los Angeles and I would still get a package at my door and receive a Valentine from my daddy on Valentine's Day. This continued until I was 37 years old in the year 2007. Towards the end of January in 2007, my father passed away. About 2.5 weeks later was Valentine's Day. Now, some of you may already know that I work in the music industry and I do concerts and special events and promotions. And when we didn't have a concert going on, one of the promotions that we had locally wherever I was we did promotions with bars and clubs and restaurants. And I had girls who actually were flower girls, and they would come in. If you ever noticed, you'd see like a girl in a restaurant or a bar with baskets of flowers, and they asked you if you wanted to buy a rose. So those were some of the promotions that we did. So on Valentine's Day, what we would do is Valentine's Day and Mother's Day, we would take bulk roses and we would set them up in different areas locally, and we would sell flowers. And most of the time it was for charity. So in this particular year, 2007, on Valentine's Day, I woke up and I had a bunch of girls working with me, but one named Sandy was with me all day. And in the morning we were getting ready to set up, and I said to her, wow, this is the first year I won't get a Valentine, because I didn't have a partner or anything at the time. But I always knew, like I said, I always had a Valentine. Every year is my daddy, right? So this year I was like, wow, this is not gonna happen today. And I went about my day. It was a little sad, but it was noticeable for sure, obviously. And I went about my day. So here it is around noon, and I'm stripping roses, and I got my hair in a bun, and I'm wearing a Harley t-shirt, and I got like these sweatpants on. It's kind of cold and chilly outside, just trying to keep warm and working at the same time. And, we're having a decent day, and all of a sudden this truck pulls up. And in this truck is a bunch of guys, like 4 guys, and they do tree work. And this guy looks at me and he goes, hey, where's your husband helping you with all this stuff? Because, we're stripping a bunch of roses. And I'm like, husband? Who has a husband? Who needs a husband? So Sandy and I just look at each other like, well, whatever, what's going on here? And this guy, he's got like shoulder-length blonde hair, dark sunglasses on, and he's smiling, and he's got this big smile. And he's like, really? He goes, well, where are your kids? Why aren't they helping you? I said, I don't have any children. He goes, no kids? He goes, really? I said, no. And he goes, well, then that means you're free to go out with me Saturday night. And I just kind of looked up like, excuse me? And I'm like, of all the cheesy lines, but it worked, it really did, because I was like, he totally caught me off guard. So I'm now standing up, and there's a tree there, and I'm leaning against this tree, and he's trying to talk to me. And he goes, give me your number. I want to, take you out. And I'm like, okay. And at this time, everybody has cell phones, right? So I couldn't give him a fake cell phone number, because then he's going to call it right then and there when he puts it in his phone, and I'm going to be busted, right? Also, I should mention, because he would have something to say if I didn't. When I realized he's now hitting on me, my hair that was in a bun, I pulled my hair down because my hair is actually 4 feet long, and I guess I needed to let him see how awesome my hair was. Sorry. Anyway, so I gave him my number, and he's like, all right, cool. He's like, thank you. He goes, I'll give you a call. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. So I go back to work. Sandy's smiling at me. She's like, you're such a jerk. I'm like, whatever. I go back to work, and a lot of my friends came and showed up, and we're all helping too. And it was just having like a nice little fun time there that afternoon. And about 2 hours after this, the same truck pulled up again. And now it's him and just one person. And I'm like, hello? He goes, I just wanted to check and make sure you gave me your real phone number. I'm like, then why didn't you call it? I'm like, you just wanted to see me again. He goes, yes, I did. I'm like, by the way, what is your name? And he goes, Gabriel. I'm like, Gabriel, huh? Okay. So Gabriel and his friend left, and I went back and continued working while all my friends teased me. Ooh, Lisa, he came back. Ooh, we got a secret admirer. And don't think we missed you pulling that hair down, girl. All kinds of stuff like that. It was really funny. And I was just like, whatever. And so we finished our day, and we went home, and Sandy came back to the house with me. And we were hanging out for a little while, and just, we ordered some lunch and just, hanging out. And all of a sudden, the phone rings. I answer the phone, and there's this like deep voice on the other end, and I'm like, wow. I was like, hello, Lisa. I'm like, yes. And he was like, hey, it's Gabriel. I'm like, Gabriel. Big thing about his name. And so we just started talking about music, life, everything. Next thing we know, we went out to dinner, had a few drinks. As we're hanging out, he grabs my hand, he's holding my hand, he's got this great smile on his face. I'm like, what is going on? What's happening here? We had a great time that night. And I go home, Sandy's still at my house, and she goes, hey, it looks like you got your Valentine after all, huh? And I just looked at her and smiled. And it's funny because if my dad could put somebody in my life, it would be someone who's similar to him, but not all like him, which Gabe is. He's a Gemini. He likes to work with his hands. He's a provider. No matter what happens in our life, and we've gone through some patches here and there, he would make sure that somebody was there to take care of me, to make sure that I was okay. No matter what he had to do, he would do it. And that's who Gabe is. And he's a lot like my father. We love to bicker back and forth. He likes to debate. My father, like if he could, like give me a noogie in my back, he would. Gabe's the same way. And this was 15 years ago. We were engaged after meeting for 3 months. We were engaged for a total of 5 years. And then we got married, and we've been married for 10. Actually, coming this March, it would be 10 years. So we've been together 15 years as of today. There is so much more I can tell you about Gabe, but we're going to be introducing him to you real soon. This, I guess, is just a little lead-in. So that, my friends, is my Valentine story. I hope you all have a happy Valentine's Day, and thank you so much for joining me and listening to me share my story with you. Bye.